All right, so this segment, what we wanted to do is kind of bring the data that recruiter organizations need and turn it into the insights and bring on industry experts, just top influencers, really kind of looking at what's going on in recruiting, but from a data lens. Because I trust data, I don't really trust people, so that's why we decided to do the whole talk nerdy to me.
Fantastic. Well, I will leave you to it, and I'm looking forward to watching.
Awesome, sounds great. All right, let's get going. All right, welcome to the Talk Nerdy to Me. I am so excited about this. As I mentioned before, what we really want to do is bring the data that you need around the topics that you're reading the most about. And today we have a very special guest. Our very first one, we wanted to come out big, and it's kind of surreal for me because I've been looking up to this guy for like throughout my career, and so actually to be on the side asking him some questions is going to be fun. So Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Again, like everybody else, I'm in Vegas at HR Tech, so this is fun to be talking about this, knowing that we're going to go into a week of it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll see you and Matt there. And Rona, unfortunately, I texted her this morning. I was like, Rona, are you going to be there? And she gave me the bad news. So, well, I know that you have got a lot of opinions, and it's why I wanted you to be our first guest and why I've followed you for so long. So, in our August report, which is free, and I'll drop a link to it in the comments, we actually got into two different sides of AI leveraging research. So, we looked at what was going on really with AI and TA organizations, but also what are the candidates thinking? And I thought that you would probably have the best perspective on what candidates are thinking, and we can get into the data. And of course, I want
Yeah,
your feedback and what you're seeing. You ready?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. So one of the first stats that jumped out was that I'm going to read this. A combined 62% of millennials and 59% of Gen Z believe that AI speeds up hiring. Now, interestingly, when it gets to Gen X, it drops down to 47%. I'm in Gen X, so I'm the anomaly. I love AI, but what are you seeing in the market? Is AI really helping speed up the process?
I like any kind of like technology automation that is new. I don't think it right now it is. I will say if it's high volume stuff, and I know like iCIMS just acquired Apply, like when you're talking about that, you're talking about hourly workers, so those kind of low skill, no skill, 10, 15, $20 an hour type. Obviously that kind of AI kind of conversational apply has definitely sped that up for them because now it takes minutes, right, to apply to a job.
Right.
That's the problem is on the TA side, and we know this as practitioners, is AI then has flooded recruiting teams with
Yes.
applications. And so it speeds it up in some circumstances, but then slows it down in others. And until we really get the process and systems down, I think it's going to take some time, but that's like anything new. Like, remember the first time you opened up that ATS for the first time, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I hate this! It's slower than our older one." And you're like, "It's
Yes.
not really, but it's slower for us because we're learning this new process and system of what we're doing."
Yeah. Actually, let's go one step further. I've been in recruiting
Yeah.
long enough that you used to fax the applications in, right? And they were talking earlier about AI and how the internet was off limits. I remember because I got into recruiting in 2004, and we had three fax machines. So I mean, we paid someone to literally go and pull them, staple them, put them into a folder like that. That was their job the whole day.
Put
And
the
I
big heavy
remember,
books on them so they
yeah, yeah,
would
right.
roll up.
Right, and God forbid there was one time that I was because it was in the corridor going out to go to the bathroom, and I was trying to run in between calls and slipped and fell on the paper. But anyway, the the conversation then was like, well, why can't we move this to the web? Like, just have somebody complete an
Yeah.
online application, blah blah blah. They were terrified that this person's personal information was going to be out on the web, but it was okay to be on the floor in the corridor where people could walk all over it. I kind of see the same thing with AI.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I think seeing the fear of that too. It's similar to that. Like, because I think we always say, "Well, are we fearful of AI helping us in this recruiting side?" And what
Hmm.
you compare it to is you compare it to perfect
Right.
versus reality. It's like, well, is it better than the current process? Yes. Is it perfect? No, but we're not perfect now.
Mm. Yeah, you would have to take AI out of my cold dead hand at this point because it's allowed me to really kind of focus on the things that I enjoy, but also too they're not so mentally draining. Like moving a piece of paper from here to here just mentally exhausts me.
Yeah.
Um, another interesting data point for me that came out was that candidates, when you ask them what part of AI in the process do they love, hands down they love the job matching. So they go in and they apply, and the AI actually helps them find jobs that they didn't even really know that they qualified for.
Yeah, but you see this with bigger employers at enterprise for sure. And when you have thousands of open jobs or even hundreds, you're assuming that everyone's going to know what your title is for their job, and we mess around with titles too often, and then it becomes difficult. And then when we see this overlay of like, hey, let me suck in your profile, let AI kind of then match you to different jobs. It's crazy how you were seeing people apply to jobs they never would have thought of because of that, because AI
Mhm.
is going, oh, by the way, you're, like again, like we see this as practitioners, and sometimes, when we have like a TA practitioner, and I'll go, oh, have you ever thought about customer success for like a TA tech company? Because that's
Mhm.
exactly what would be really well. But if you were just looking at jobs, you never would apply for that. But AI
Right.
would go, hey, your skill sets match this job really well. And so it's opening up a lot of windows for people for that.
Well, and there's a huge discussion out there now about, doing the hiring for skills. And it just, for me, whenever I get asked about the topic, I always have to control my face. I'm like, what the have we been hiring people for? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of a non-issue. But in the surveys, candidates, that was actually the second thing is being
Yeah.
able to show their skills and being able to be matched to jobs. And then on the flip side of that, are on the TA organization, that's actually where most of the efficiencies that organizations are seeing is in that candidate assessment based off of skills. Are there any trends that you're seeing that kind of track with that?
Yeah, the skills thing has becomes difficult because we've talked about this, and as an industry,
Hmm.
we've talked about it ad nauseum. It's so hard to do. I think AI helps gather in some of that stuff more. For me, like what I'm seeing from the AI assist side, the assessment piece I think is really good because what AI takes, there's a little fear again of AI selecting a candidate, right,
Right.
or even ranking candidates, and I understand that, but again, if it's better than what we currently do, it will be perfect. No, but it will
Hmm.
be better than what we have. And as we start to put in, all the screening data, all of the assessment data, all these other people, all these data points, it's just going to get better and better. And I
Hmm.
think that's where we'll start to see over the next 12 to 18 months, really starting to see these live examples coming from companies going, hey, we turned this on, we did this, and this is what the result was. And we're still really early days on all of this.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the data behind the adoption, the implementation, and like you said, what some of the metrics are. And I know you and I have talked a lot about there's a lot of sizzle, but not a lot of steak in that area
Yeah,
yet.
well,
So,
and it's we know what's crazy is our candidates believe we're all using AI and that they're
oh yeah.
being, that they're being, dispositioned by AI. And the reality is almost nobody is using AI to do any dispositioning. It's
Hmm.
just real.
No,
It's real people not looking at your thing, going, "Yeah, I don't want to look at these 100. Just disposition them all."
right, and it kind of cracks me up how I'm sure you get this a lot too in conferences whenever you're speaking about it. People are like, well, what about the candidates that you're overlooking? And my question to them is, you have 100 applicants. Tell me how many of those 100 applicants are your recruiters really looking at? They're going to look at the
Yeah,
last 20, find the five most qualified, and interview them. So
yeah,
I think AI is going to probably surface some of those. So it's going to hopefully give candidates that didn't really have a shot with a human, maybe AI
yeah.
can kind of bring it up a little bit.
I'm super hopeful. Again, I go to what's the reality now? The reality now is maybe
Hmm.
3 to 5% of everybody who applies to your jobs even becomes part of the process.
Right.
With AI, I truly believe it's going to be the first time we'll have 100% of people actually get in at bat. Is it going to be
Mm.
perfect? Is it going to be, they get to talk to a real human? No, but at least they are being seen, and their information is being gathered, and there's a chance, right, that they can get deeper into the process. Because right now they're not getting into the process at all.
Right.
they're
Right.
they're not even being looked at. They're being ignored totally. And I'm like, so for me, AI is better if you overlay that and you can get 100% of the people involved. So it is interesting. So I mean, I'm super hopeful for that side of it.
Yeah. We
Again,
just got
it's
to
not
get
going to
there.
be, won't be perfect, but it's going to be better, in my estimation.
I agree. Now, another one that jumped out at me was 82% of respondents say that they agree that they want to know, and again, this is candidates, that they want to know the criteria that AI uses in their application.
Yeah.
So, I picked this one because you recently had a post that went viral on the topic. So, I don't even feel like I should say care to share your thoughts on that. So, just floor is yours, sir.
Well, give me the stat again. It was 82%.
82, they agree or strongly agree that they want to know the criteria that AI is
Yeah.
using to evaluate them.
So it is the little black box kind of thing, right? One is they again, 82% believe that AI is actually like there is actually measuring them, is
Mhm,
actually filtering them. We know that's not the case. Um, but I do think it's something that all of us as TA leaders and practitioners are going to have to come to grapple with. And what I foresee is on your career page, you're going to start to see a very clear, transparent way of saying like, hey, here's where AI is actually used in the process.
mhm,
So when you're speaking right to this chatbot or whatever, that's AI. When you're applying, we do not right use AI to select, but we do use AI with the help of all of these data points to help rank. But nobody's getting disposition, blah blah blah. Like I think we're going to start to see a lot of that transparency from employers. I mean, they just have to. Otherwise, again, you're going to see more and more lawsuits saying, "Oh, AI, didn't give me the
mhm.
job, and it's because I'm old or I'm young or I'm a whatever." And you're just like, actually, no, that's not how this works.
Right,
And so we
right.
have to kind of really get out and educate and show people this is what AI is and this is what AI isn't. There and it's gone insane right now where the vast majority of candidates believe they're being not selected because of AI, and you're like, it's just not the case. It might be in the future. It's just not right now.
Yeah, but, and it's a quick fix too. You already have people sign, especially if you're an enterprise, you've got them doing the EEOC, you've got them doing all these other forums. Just one more screen that says, even a journey map. Here's where we use AI and here's where
Yeah,
the human is.
yeah.
Just take that one step, and I think that it would increase the transparency, which is also going to increase the trust from the candidates, at least in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And we're going to see a lot of companies try different things, like where they layer that human in and where they layer that AI in. It's not
Hmm.
going to be a one size fits all because some companies are going to go, "Hey, we believe we want to add more human into the process, or we believe we want to add more AI in here, whatever that might be." So we're going to see a lot of testing, and I think it's going to be super interesting to see which companies find the secret sauce.
Totally agree. So one thing I've always loved about your content is that you don't just bring up a problem, you give some really good tactical advice. So with all of this candidate and AI and everything that we talked about in the last 10 minutes, what's one piece of advice you would give to talent organizations that are considering putting in AI in their process?
So there's to me there's really some low risk easy ways. One is you should be doing all of your interview scheduling with AI. That's just it's super low risk. It's probably
Hmm.
no risk. Conversational apply, again, very low risk. I believe using AI to screen every single candidate as a first level screen is another low risk, super inclusive way.
Hmm.
We talk about the death of DE&I and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, AI potentially will give us the best option ever to be inclusive
Absolutely.
because I can 100% of people now can be a part of our process. And so
Hmm.
I would turn some of those things on into testing ability, right? If you're a multi-location or you're a multi-department, try it with one department, see if it works. If it doesn't, turn it off, and then go back and try something else. Don't go to your company and just be like, "Hey, on Monday, bam, everybody's
Right.
turned on. We're
Right.
going to see what happens," because like you have this whiplash effect, and you're like, "No, just test out in little pods, see what works, and if it does, then start to roll it out, to everybody else." But for me, those three things I think are pretty low risk AI with huge advantage and upside to giving you more capacity for your team.
I love it. I love it. And just to end on that note, some of the data actually points to, and it did my heart great. So TA organizations were saying, with this increased efficiency, where are your recruiters reinvesting that time? First answer was they're reinvesting it in the candidate interview. And then the
Yeah.
second was that they were looking at metrics and business KPIs and aligning their strategy. And I was like, yes, finally, we're going to get
Yes.
out of the muck and actually do the strategic stuff that we want. So, well,
Trent, I
Tim,
think you're right on. Yeah, you're right on with that. Just real quickly, because I know Matt wants to get back in here.
mhm.
I agree with you. I think when what we see in the few live examples that we have is when your recruiters, after AI is used for screening, when the recruiter can actually have a real conversation with candidates and build that relationship, like everything is better in the
It
process.
is.
So I'll end with that.
Totally. Awesome. Love it. Well, Tim, thank you for coming on, and I will actually see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Just a reminder to everyone, I dropped a link in the comments for the free report. You can also go to the link that's at the bottom. So with that, Matt and Rona, I will turn it back over to the two of you.